Are you starting to feel the pressure of compromise, and how are you dealing with it?
The van has to last. It's a 4x4. It will be off-road. It can't just shake apart.
Are you now getting to the point where you're like, I want it done and ready to use?
Absolutely.
And when you said your van builders have been forced to move premises halfway through the build, I thought you've got no chance in terms of getting this finished on time now. It looks amazing and there's a lot done, but like, what's it been like?
Yeah, I'm really happy, actually. We're sort of mid-build. It was pretty slow to start with.
I thought this is going to seriously delay things because I know what it would be like to move unit, but things have progressed and you're starting to really see it take shape. Are you keeping a tally of where it's up to in terms of weight at the moment, or is it more of a case of focus on getting it built and then worry about it at the end?
Well, yeah, I have gone back to the spec and just updated the weights as I see it. Obviously, I can only go on, given weights for certain components, certain parts, certain bits of equipment, appliances.
Let's start on a few of the things in terms of the order that they went in. So the floor looks amazing, and again, I was quite surprised at how light this was when you showed me the material. And it feels great. It's really solid. It looks the part. Saying last time, feels very kind of like adventure van, very utilitarian. Love the look of it. But there has been one small little thing that the guys have noticed, that it holds the dirt.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility, but because it is so grippy, it's like sandpaper. But actually in the living area here, I'll probably always have the foam mats just to make it a bit softer. But actually in the garage at the back, that'll be perfect because there'll be bikes in there and, bags and boxes and what have you. So things will perhaps not slide around as much. So I'm happy with that.
Seats have gone in. I don't think it was literally an empty van, wasn't it, last time when we...
Pretty much, yeah. Some of the insulation had been done. I had a go at doing that.
Before we go through all the different elements, I want to ask you a question about compromise, because in the first video that we did, there was a few people that came back, and Aidan was funny, cheeky, saying about like the full length of the awning and actually what the weight is. And that's an interesting one because Aidan's been through the whole process of trying to get a van underway. I think what's great about the video is it's almost like, a lot of the feedback that I got is, thank God someone's talking about the elephant in the room. Everyone's building these vans, no one's talking about weight, and it's a touchy, I found it's a touchy subject, and I've been through it, I've weighed mine. Are you starting to feel the pressure of compromise, and how are you dealing with it?
In terms of what I'm trying to achieve here is, I am trying to get a lightweight build, but I'm not willing to compromise on everything. If you've got an adventure van, there's certain things that you want and need. Personally, I need 2 separate spaces for sleeping. Got a teenage son, don't want to share a bed with him. So the pop top was a must. Clearly, that's not a lightweight element. The awning, full length 4-metre awning, that's not a lightweight element. So some of the things that are on the van are typical of what vans, camper vans, adventure vans, whether self-builders or from the converters, from the customizers. So what I've had to do is look at where I can save weight on everything else, really. So I suppose the primary weight savings I would see here are all the panelling materials, flooring, the bathroom, the fridge unit, the kitchen unit, as well as the overheads from Van der Moon. So these are the areas where I know I will have saved a significant amount. I guess things like not having a full-on electrical system with all the usual components, whether that's Victron or whatever it might have been. I've gone for the Clayton. Again, space saving, weight saving. I spent a lot of time sort of working through every element, trying to identify the lightest possible solution, but without complete compromise. The van has to last. It's a 4x4. It will be off-road. It can't just shake apart. So it has to be solid. So but I'm reasonably confident with the numbers that I've put together that I will get it within the sort of the weight that I want it.
Straight away, what I've noticed, even though we're sort of in the middle of the build, it's not complete yet, is things like how the Van der Moon solution has gone in. We're speaking to the guys that they were saying how easy it was to fit. Once you've got your template, it's great. they just look really good. It just instantly screams adventure van when you see that type of product. I think your roof is looking really, really good. I think, you know, the materials in there, even though they're not edged and things like that yet, where it is edged, it's looking great. Even though you are doing things in a different way, all the materials, as they're now starting to sit in situ, it's looking good. It doesn't feel like there's, when I spoke to the guys, it doesn't feel like there's been any major hiccups. Even with the Clayton system, they've never fit a Clayton system before. They've come back and they were like really impressed. They've been using it on the bench. I don't know if they told you that, but they're using your Clayton.
No, I didn't know that. But that's fine.
They've been using the Clayton a little bit.
We'll call that testing.
Because obviously, as they've been moving, I think they had a few issues with electrics and things like that. In terms of the layout, as things are starting to get in situ, has it turned out how you expected it?
Yeah, I'd say pretty much. Everything's been tweaked. The beds ended up being bigger than it was going to be because I needed more length on the garage, so I probably got the biggest garage I could possibly have got, but fortunately with the long wheelbase I've got all that storage space, which is great because I've got loads of kit anyway. It'd be great to have a really good size raised bed. It has pushed things forward a little bit by having to do that, but the bathroom is still pretty much the size we'd planned it. The twin seats here are where we'd sort of planned with the table, a little bit of storage behind for things like the ladder for the pop top, the table, the window blinds. That's all going to sort of go in the gap. Going to be a kitchen unit here, made out of the same black panelling with a red worktop.
So is your kitchen unit going to
come like that? I suppose halfway across the sliding door, something like that. With some bits and pieces, table on the back and the side. The smaller Vandermoon here is going to be going up above, so it serves the kitchen. And then you've got the full height fridge on this side too. So it's pretty much exactly what I had visioned completely.
Yeah. One thing I was asking, I always look at in a vans is how are you dealing with when the unit going straight down to
the unit's going to go down here, and there'll be a pigeonhole here, just an open pigeonhole for shoes, flip-flops, I guess.
It's handy, that step.
Yeah.
We nearly went down, I nearly boxed it off as well at one point in ours, but ours floats, and then you've got like an LED, which...
Oh, yeah.
I fakes the fact that I didn't finish the step off properly, but that little area underneath is...
Yeah, I mean, the consideration here, of course, is that the step is quite high off the ground. Perhaps isn't too much of a problem at the moment, but as time goes on, maybe I'll need to organise something, but I might even just have a little sort of plastic step.
Pop tops, loads of room in there, so it's going to be perfect for your lad. Great. I was wondering about the gap behind the Vandermoon, but you can have your ladder there, aren't you? So you you got your space there. You've gone with the tight trim on here, which is like, this is not all sort of glued in or whatever yet.
It's all loose at the minute.
With this, is that powder coated or?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's powder coated aluminium, tight radius.
It's a tight angle. So the bathroom, obviously the outside wall is the 9mm bubble core panel. And on the inside, there will be a white Foamex board bonded to this, which will then bring the thickness to about 15mm, which will then allow it to fit perfectly into the angles. And then, the lose-in, sink, shower, and then hopefully, if we can get one, a roll door. Retractable door. That's the plan for here. And
is it the Nautilus? Is it the self-cleaning roll door or what?
Oh, I don't know if it's self-cleaning. Yeah, it's the roll door.
It's the roll door.
Yeah. So it's sort of, it's a bit like a roller blind. It goes in, and actually there's just enough depth on the inside corner here for the roll to go. So
then you're gonna have a nice bright white wet room, and then you've actually gone with a vent in there on the side of the vehicle, which I was unsure about, but it actually looks pretty cool from the outside, doesn't it?
Well, it looks all right, yeah. It's, it sort of matches everything else. It's black, so that's great.
Yeah.
But I went for it's a Max Air dome fan, actually, and normally these things are fitted on the roof, but because of the pop top, that's not an option for me. And what I'm actually hoping that I can create is a bit of a drying room as well as a wet room. Obviously a bathroom, functioning bathroom, but I'm going to have a rail, hanging some wet gear, coats and what have you, and that will that will work as a sort of a dry room as well. We will see. Obviously on this side, again, mention about, you know, kitchen unit, typical with sort of sink and twin gas hob, oven below, a cupboard for house, you know, domestic stuff, bits and pieces, food and what have you. And then actually the gas locker is going in the kitchen unit as well, with a lightweight gas bottle, which is then plumbed into the side here, which is the LPG input. So that's there. And then the smaller Vandermoon fills the gap here for sort of you know, bits and pieces, probably, you know, tea and coffees and the likes.
And then for your fridge, is it 90 litre that, or is it a bit more?
This is yes, it's the biggest Thetford.
Yeah, I think it's 90.
I think it's actually more like 130.
Is it? Flipping, eh? Get some some groceries in there. Going to the back of the van then, so you ended up going a bit bigger with the bed.
Yes, which is great, gives me a bigger bed, but even better is that I've now got a really big garage. Clearly back here, most of the sort of services equipment will be on the passenger side, on the left hand side, so that's going to be the Clayton LPS with the add-on battery, the Truma hot water tank, filter, attenuator, all of those kind of bits of equipment. So that'll all be sort of boxed into a cabinet, but that'll still leave me lots of space, a couple of bikes.
So have you, what did you say you're going to do with the mattress? Is it
so this is 60 by 30 mil extrusion. So the bed base has been created with that. Make sure it's absolutely solid. The bed base will be, again, the 9 mil plastic panelling, and then above that will be the Frolly spring system, and above that 100 mil memory foam mattress, which will have to be made to fit. One of the things I didn't want in the van was any carpet. This van will have no carpet, and there'll be no wooden elements. So with all the panelling being the bubble core plastic, any sort of packers and trims and things will be just offcuts from the panelling, you know, if they need to pack out.
What I've been speaking to the guys as well is just, I was unsure what they were going to do with like framing stuff out and what have you, and most of the panelling has been actually stuck to the actual framework itself as well.
They seem to be pretty confident that certainly the lighter weight panels, so the ceiling, which is 4 mil, and the lighter grey panels, which is the same stuff actually, but the ceiling's been vinyl wrapped, they can bond that. Whereas the 9 mil, which is sort of the flooring and the furniture panelling, and also the panelling in the garage here, that needs to be screwed. I think one of the big challenges on this build for the guys anyway has been, you know, working out how they bond panels together, you know, how they bond it into, you know, edgings and angles, and fixings in general. Creative use of adhesives, and that's really been their big challenge.
In my head, I was thinking there's going to be a lot of plastics and that kind of thing, like what's the quality going to be? But because all the boards are sort of textured, it looks high quality. That seems like a slant.
Well, I was a little concerned that clearly it's got a very grey finish, or grey and black.
Mid build on a vehicle, you can sometimes get to that point where you're thinking, not too sure about things. It seemed good in my head, but when you get it in situ, it's not looking as good. But I've been really impressed with this. It's starting to come together really, really well. As you say, if you look in the back of the van now, you've got like all that dark finish, but then you're going to have your lighter floor.
That's right.
These other elements around the side are lighter. I think that looks really good. And obviously your roof is going to be a lighter colour.
The other thing about the back doors, of course, here is that these are going to have the Vandermoon storage solutions on. So that the whole of the inside of both doors will have their storage solution, which is full of cargo nets and pockets for all sorts of stuff. So at high level, that'll be useful when I'm in bed. At low level, if I'm, you know, fiddling with kit or bikes,
Are you going for above the bed? Have you got lockers there? Is it Van der Moon again?
Only on the foot side.
One side,
not on the head side. So my head's going on the driver's side. So I've got sort of the full height, which hopefully I've worked out I should be able to sit up in bed, which is great. Yeah. And then opposite, there's going to be the big Van der Moon box.
I think that's the way to go. I don't like the claustrophobia of, when I've looked in vans and they've had the overhead lockers on both sides. It can look great on camera, but actually when you it doesn't look great.
Yeah, I was really conscious that I didn't want any more obstacles than needed to be, and no sharp corners. Of course, everyone's trying to achieve that.
Everything seems to be working well so far. Touch wood, everything's looking great in terms of the aesthetics of it, the layout. Seems like the guys are getting on. I've had good feedback, as I say, about the Clayton. That's all kind of worked out really, really well. Are you getting to the point now where, as we've had a little bit of a sprinkling of warmer weather, are you now getting to the point where you're like, I want it done and ready to use?
Absolutely. All my trips are planned. Yes, I'm hoping to have it back within sort of a few weeks now. Then we'll a couple of shakedown weekends on campsites just to sort of check everything and work through the system and all the kit. I've got a lot of kit that I've sort of assembled over the last few months, all the stuff that I want to have on board. The obviously internal kit, but also all the external stuff, the barbecue, the table and chairs, all those bits and pieces. I've also bought a mobile projector, and I'm going to have a screen on the side door. We'll have films and footy and festivals and whatever else on show, entertaining the other campers.
I think that's ultimately, I think you've got to do a few test runs and you suss out what is and isn't working on the van very quickly when you spent a night in it, and you start realising once you're putting things away, have you got enough storage and all the rest of it. And also when you drive the van down the road, squeaks, little rattles, that kind of thing. I would like to drive the van when it's done to see and almost like feel the difference. Mm-hmm. So maybe have a drive of it on a private road or something. I'd just be interested to feel what the van feels like once it's complete as well.
For sure, when it's complete, hopefully not too long now. Come back. Let's do a final view.
Plan on going to Man Van Tribe or Van Man.
Yeah,
I always say it wrong.
Yeah, I know.
But you're going to go to that as well.
I hope so later in the year. I think really until I sort of get my hands on it, I'm not organised too much. Yeah. But I have got lots of ideas, and I've got a Scotland trip planned.
These are dream vans for most people, and I always feel really privileged that I've got my van and I was able to spend the time on it and all the rest of it, and I can start to see, you're excited and you feel really lucky to have it.
Yeah, really, really privileged to have, such a fantastic vehicle. I'm hoping that others will be inspired by some of the different things that I'm doing on this, as well as some of the more obvious stuff.
It's great what you've done in the interior, that it's got amazing curb appeal, it just looks great from the outside. So yeah, I can't wait to come back and see it finished.